purpose to help us identify the next stocks. 2 minutes, yeah, absolutely. I'm not just kidding. To help us identify the next sector that is going to, propel our investments, propel our returns and everything, we are going to use perplexity.ai. Why? It is great at deep research. We want to go through a lot of research. Remember, a lot of things happen within a sector, and we have to go through all of the sectors to identify the right picks, correct? So there's a lot of macroeconomic data, there's a lot of research papers, there's a lot of recent developments to go through. But 2 minutes. Okay? Let me bring you to Perplexity. It's perplexity.ai if you want, and also show you something. Like, we need to ask the question, right? We need to ask the Perplexity to give us the output, so that we need to ask a question. And the question is very simple. It's only 3 pages long. Okay? It's a proper structured prompt. It's a growth sector deep research report prompt. What you need to do, just open the PDF, select each and everything, right? 3 pages of question. Just select copy. And the most difficult part right now, please pay attention. Just paste it over here. Click on deep research, right? And just hit enter. Very difficult. Copy paste. Huh? I think everybody can do copy paste, right? You don't have to have this, guys. This is absolutely free. All the tools that we are going to show are free. You can run the analysis on the free versions, right? So a deep research takes time. So we'll give it time. If we do it, it'll take us months. We can give this 2-minute time, right? Yes. Yeah. Let's give it 2 minutes time. Not difficult, but prompt is important. Absolutely, Harishji. If I just go and ask it, tell me which sector is going to be the best in the future, it is not going to be able to do that. It's important that you have a proper structured prompt, giving it proper rules, giving it a framework on what to do the research on, what to research, what to make of that data points, right? Will this prompt be shared to us? What do you think? Will you all get access to the prompt? No. Of course you'll get access to the prompt. Then otherwise, the entire point of teaching you becomes redundant, right? Of course. But what did Pratik say? All the prompts, all the bonuses, each and everything that Pratik and I show, and you have been promised, you will be getting it at the end of the workshop. Why? Because I know if I give it to you right now, you will stop listening to whatever else, all the things that we have to say, and you will start playing around with this, right? So just see the amount of research that is happening over here. It's showing you how its thinking process is going based on whatever I've said. Okay. And see how logical it is. I need to conduct a web search to gather the latest expert insights and everything. This is how we work also, but we will take at least 6 months to do the entirety of research that it has been able to do in this little, almost less than a minute, I guess. And we have our deep research report for this fiscal year, the next fiscal year that we're going to have. Let's go through it together. Okay? Amazing. Just look at it. I'll take you through it. Just look at it. It's a proper, detailed, deep research report. It takes months to do this manually, right? So, growth sectors and strategic capital allocation outlook for 2025-2026. India's economy is projected to grow between 6.3-6.8% in FY26. So, a little bit about what is happening in India, like the macroeconomic level. So, you need to understand the economy and listen. All these are factual. Everything that it is said, it has proper research references, citations. Anybody from the research domain, maybe you're doing your PhD or something, you have done your dissertations, you have to go through a lot of research work to put up your research work, correct? And then you have to give all the citations. Just see how powerful this is. Talks about India's economy, CPI, inflation figures and everything. Okay, you can go through that. Very, very insightful information. Now, macroeconomic foundations. What is happening in India? How is the macroeconomy shaping like? So in whatever direction India is heading, it is, all the sectors which are going to benefit out of that, it just makes sense that they will be the sectors to look at. Use logic, right? A lot of you, this will be, a little bit too technical, but use logic. So we have the economic indicators, we have the structural enablers, right? What is happening? Demographic shifts loom large. India's working age population peaking at 1.7 million. So all these economic data points are also factored in. Global context, what is happening globally? India's export faces headwinds, 12%, almost 13% import surges in petroleum and Chinese goods. Everything's factored in. high growth sector analysis. Now, this is what we are here for. Renewable energy, technological services, pharmaceuticals, logistics, and consumer durables. It goes through each and everything, gives you the top 5 sectors which are poised for growth. Why is it about, poised for growth? What are the growth drivers? Okay, you have it chalked out over here as well. As I said, your sector should be in the direction that the economy is headed towards. What regulatory support are these sectors going to get? So if the government, if the schemes are favoring doing something, the sectors which are benefiting out of those will be poised for growth. Right? Now, key players, and it tells you who are the key players within the sectors as well. Right? For let's say renewable energy, Adani Green, Tata Power, Renew, technology services, TCS, Infosys, Wipro, pharmaceuticals, Sun Pharma, Dr. Reddy's, Cipla, all these. Right? Now, it gives you a little more detailed information on each and every sector as well. Renewable energy infrastructure. India ranks third globally in renewable capacity and everything. Just see how detailed it is. What is the future projection? Where are we sitting at in terms of capacity? Everything is discussed. What are the growth parameters looking like? Right? Technology and digital services. Correct? Again, something which is growing. Why it is growing, it is also telling you that. Healthcare and pharmaceuticals. What is happening in the industry? Why is it poised for growth? 20%, 25% CAGR. Logistics and transport, right? So all these things, and that's not even it. Investment framework, it tells you, what should be your investment structure like. Large cap and equity focus amongst this, risk profile, high volatility. It is something for everybody. Policy analysis, what are the recent policies that are going to aid these industries? Current regulations, legislative pipeline, what are the policies that are in store, and if passed, they're going to absolutely propel these industries. What are the strategic recommendations also? Short term, pharmaceuticals, IT, medium term, renewable energy infrastructure, long term, healthcare, REITs, and everything. How long did it take? It is not just going through all research, it is not just going through macroeconomic data, it is compiling them, going through all the sectors, finding the best sectors, telling you an investment framework, and also giving you a regulatory insight as to why these are, poised for growth. How long did it take us? Guys, how long did it take you to identify the top 5 growth sectors? Less than 2 minutes. Did you identify the top 5 growth sectors? Proper economic research. Yes, amazing. How many of you think this is absolutely, absolutely mind blowing? Now, why did I use Perplexity? As I said, because this is very good at doing deep research work. Correct? Mind blowing, amazing. Yes. So, one question to each and every one of you. Super, right? Tell me something. Now, can you identify the next big sectors yourself? Tell me. I want everybody to tell me if you, whatever your experience level, right? Can you identify the next big sectors yourself? Yes, yes. Copy, paste, run it, give it 2 minutes, go through the research. If you're somebody who has intermediary level skills, you can go through the entire research, understand it. If you think this is too technical, you do not, do not understand macroeconomic insights or these technical terms, no worries. You can at least see what are the top 5 sectors. Yes or no? This is real power. I'm telling you, when I say, the amount of progress that AI is happening in the domain of AI, it's unparalleled. It's amazing. What it is doing is, it is democratizing knowledge to each and every person. Somebody like you who might be a beginner, right? A lot of you today, you do not need to know anything about the markets or economics or statistics, right? But you can identify the next 5 growth sectors yourself. Powerful, right? Mokshji. Now, brings me to another question. Can you critically analyze an economy, industry, and identify the wealth multipliers from wealth destroyer stocks? We have understood, what are the potential candidates for our, the growth sectors, right? Now, let's say, can you deep dive into one particular industry, right? And also see what is happening and understand what are the green flags in terms of stocks, what are the red flags, what stocks can be potentially good opportunities within that sector, and what stocks are not that good opportunities. How many of you can do that? Again, this has a lot of economics, this has a lot of finance as well. Yes? No? Tons and tons of no. Be honest. Can you do that? Scanner, screener, it'll just give you data points, right? What do you make of that data? Can you do that research on your own? Do you know how to make sense of data and come to a conclusion? Simple analysis, not complex. Absolutely. That's fine. That is wherein, again, we have AI, right? So this time around, we're going to use Chat GPT. And why? Even in the freemium plan, wherein you have access to premium features on a free plan for limited, it has something called as advanced reasoning, right? It has something called as advanced reasoning. Now, so let's take pharmaceuticals, okay? Pharmaceuticals is one industry. Okay, let's take technology services, okay? Shall we go ahead and do that? Identified 5. Let's take technology, okay? Let's see. Next step in the investment process is to, what did I say? Analyze that sector, identify the industry, identify what is happening, and find what stocks are good, what stocks are not good. Okay? So let's take IT, for example. Now, I'll go to ChatGPT. What do I ask it? I want to do that analysis, right? I want to analyze everything about the IT industry. Again, very simple. I have my prompt ready with me. You know what? This is an 8-page prompt. Again, what level of output you get totally depends on the quality of your prompt. And what do you have to do? We have already done the prompt for you, right? You don't need to do anything. You just have to select everything, copy, go to ChatGPT and paste, right? One thing you need to change, whichever industry we want to look into, right? So now we are doing IT. I'll change the name to IT. You are doing some other stock, just enter the stock name. So you can go to ChatGPT O3 Mini and just hit enter and wait for the magic to happen. Okay? What are we trying to analyze? What are we trying to analyze? A macroeconomic and environment outlook, right? We want to understand what is happening in the economy and how is the sector going to be impacted at the IT industry because of whatever is happening in the economy. Second thing, in a top-down industry analysis that we need to do is do an in-depth analysis of the industry. Third thing, we need to identify, look at the players, like who is doing what, who has the competitive edge, who is the largest player, right? Who has the most technology, who is growing the most, right? And last but not the least, what is the point of doing all these research? The point of doing all this research is for you to understand, right, which are the stocks within the IT industry which are good opportunities and which are the stocks which are not so good opportunities. Okay? Now, let's see what the output is. So that's the prompt. It's a very big prompt. Don't need to worry with it. So as I said, first and foremost, to do a top-down industry analysis, let's say for the IT industry, we'll go and look at the macroeconomic and market environment. So it talks about India's GDP, right? Driven by increased digitization and demand. Reasoning, a growing economy increases business investments in digital infrastructure and IT solutions. The consistent GDP expansion fuels higher demand for IT services, both domestically and internationally, right? You can use the prompt for any industry and look at the magic, right? It is talking about the economy and what impact, whatever is happening in the economy, what impact it has on the said industry that you're researching. Correct? Isn't this mind blowing? Not just identifying trends, but also trying to understand what implications it is having, what to make sense of, right? The data that we are seeing, how to make sense of it. Again, we have interest rates, monetary policy, what is happening. Like stable interest rates help to keep the cost of capital low for IT companies, and what is happening? Relatively stable around 5 to 6%, supporting investments in new technologies and enabling competitive pricing on global scale. Inflation and purchasing power, again, very important macroeconomic factors. And how is it going to benefit the IT industry or not? Is it not important to understand? You see, whenever there is any big meeting that is happening, right? Policy meet or some new regulation is coming, other countries are imposing a tariff or something, and there's a huge movement in the markets, right? Correct? All of you have seen this. Why does it happen? It is very important, and this tells us exactly that. Not just that, employment metrics, what is happening in the employment metric, how is it going to impact the IT industry, everything. Now, next thing that we do an in-depth industry analysis of the IT industry, right? Current industry performance delivered a historical CAGR of 8 to 10% over the past 5 years. Key segments such as digital services, cloud computing, cybersecurity are experiencing accelerated growth of 15 to 20% year on year, right? What are the regulatory and policy impacts? Again, reforms in data privacy, all this. You can go through this. It is so detailed. Is it not? It summarizes everything that is happening, makes a takeaway for you on it, and also tells you the implications, right? Whether it is good, whether it is bad. Third thing, you need to identify the end goal is always to invest in a particular stock. That is what our goal is, correct? So we also have to identify when looking at industries, what are the potentially good stocks, right? What is happening within the industry, who the major players are. Industry is dominated by a few large players, TCS, Infosys, HCL, right? Pricing power, top players consistently report operating margins in the range of 20 to 25%. Again, for those of you who know a little bit of basics, very quality information, correct? Now, as I said, not just that, it tells you the 3 best stocks with the best investment outlook within this industry as well, right? So what are the 3 best stocks? TCS, Infosys, HCL Technologies. It tells you why. Tells you why and gives you the financials as well. Amazing. It does the work for you. It does the work for you. Then we have Infosys, HCL, everything in detail. Now, it's important to know what stocks are not good for you as well, right? So we have Wipro, not a good investment at the time. Why? Facing margin pressure due to rising operational costs. Okay. If you don't want to go through this, it is important you don't go through this. Important to know that these are the stocks, Wipro, Tech Mahindra, Emphasis. These are not good investments at the moment, even though the IT industry is poised for growth as a sector. Okay? Understood? Is it not real power for you to go through an industry analysis on your own and also identify, you know what? This industry as a whole, what we learned from the first prompt, is great. It has got good growth prospect. But within the industry, all the players are not going to, have that same growth. We need to identify what are the good stocks which will be having this growth and what are the not so good stocks. Correct? Not just that, it gives you an investment thesis as well, right? Top tier IT players, TCS, Infosys, HCL, continue to exhibit robust revenue growth, expanding margins, and strong recurring revenue models. With steady investments in digital, AI, cloud services, these companies are positioned to capitalize on global demand for technology solutions. Reasoning: their strong financial metrics, high ROE, persistent EPS growth, and solid balance sheets, combined with market leadership, make them attractive for long-term growth. This is the answer we were looking for. These 3, but why? Okay? Does a risk return assessment for you as well and gives you the recommendation, right? It gives you buy sell recommendations also. Buy TCS, Infosys, HCL for investors with long-term outlook. Okay? Their robust fundamentals, strong order books, and digital innovations are expected to drive sustained growth. What to avoid? Wipro, Tech Mahindra, Emphasis, which should be approached with caution due to reduced exposure given their operational challenges, weaker margins, higher vulnerability to the markets. Okay? Gives you a conclusion, gives you a reason, right? Now tell me, what have you been able to do till now? Even if you're somebody who's absolutely a beginner, you have been able to identify the top 5 sectors with the most promising growth outlook. Okay? Then you pick a sector and you do a deep dive and understand what are the top 3 stocks in that sector and why. So, this takes hardly 30 seconds. That took 2 minutes. Within 2.5 minutes, you can identify a sector with the maximum possible growth outlook and also identify the top 3 stocks within that sector. Yes or no? Yes or no? Yes. So till now, you have been able to identify 3 sectors. Big yes, 2.5 minutes. And believe me, in terms of data, the prompt explicitly mentions, if you see over here, that the data points should only be taken from genuine sources, government websites, Trendline, McKinsey, and everything, proper research reports from McKinsey, Deloitte, and etc. Correct? So everything is based on factual to the point data. Correct? Now, so we have identified 3 stocks. What next? Now, can you be an expert on any industry in under a minute? What do you think? You just became an expert. If you go through the entire research report, yes, it's a proper gold mine of information and analysis and simplifying it for you in less than 2 minutes. Absolutely. Okay. Now, what next? How confidently can you compare multiple stocks using intricate financial metrics, qualitative factors, and identify the perfect stock? Can you do an entire, you have seen equity research reports, right? An entire analysis of a stock? No. Tell me something. We identified top 3 stocks. Can you look at everything that is happening and identify the best pick out of that? You can't go and invest in all 3 stocks, right? If you go do it, your portfolio is going to be like 20, 30, 40 stocks. You can't do that. How do you identify top 3? How do you go about identifying that best possible opportunity? Right? Let's do that. For this, we are going to use Grok 3, right? It is a part of XAI. And why are we going to use Grok 3? Because it is very good at complex logical analysis, right? Again, guys, for those of you asking if we can get the recording, absolutely. Pratik already mentioned this workshop is absolutely live because we understand that the maximum value per minute and learning that we can impart is over a live session. So please pay attention, focus. All the prompts and everything that Pratik and I are going to take you through, we'll be sharing it at the end of today's workshop, right? Focus on what I am doing, how to look at the output of a prompt, so that you know when you have your hands on the prompt, how to go about doing this yourself. Okay? Now, let's go ahead and do that. So we come to Grok 3. Now, what were the 3 stocks? What were the 3 stocks? We have HCL Technologies, Infosys, and TCS. We want to find which is the best out of these 3, right? So again, we have another prompt for this. It is the company comparison and stock selection deep research prompt. What do you need to do? Go through it's a 13-page prompt, by the way, guys. Copy, go to Grok, paste it, make sure it is Grok 3 on, click on deep research, right? And what I want you to do is just enter the 3 stocks. What were they? TCS, Infosys, and HCL Technologies. Okay? Just hit enter and see the magic. It's a deep research thing, so we'll let it take its time. Okay? It's already started giving us the output. So, and I want you to pay very, very close attention to this. Okay? It gives you an investment opportunity analysis and everything. Now, it will go through a 6-part framework to identify which is the best out of all these 3. So first and foremost, a fundamental analysis. Let's go through the first stock, TCS. What is its core business competitive positioning? What are the recent developments? TCS reported a robust Q3 FY25 with a 12% approximate profit surge, okay, to 12,380 crores. It talks about what is the sentiment in the industry about the company. Analysts remain bullish. All the professionals who are covering TCS, analyzing TCS, they're bullish, citing TCS's consistent execution and resilience. Social media trends on X praise its Q3 beat. That means what was projected in Q3, TCS outperformed that. Okay? Though some note rising competition in AI services. So that's fundamental analysis of TCS. Similarly, you have a fundamental analysis of Infosys and again, a fundamental analysis of HCL. Okay? If you don't want to go through that, just read the takeaway of the fundamental analysis section. TCS leads with scale and execution. Infosys excels in innovation, but falters on growth. HCL holds a niche in engineering, but lacks momentum. Industry trends favor digital transformation, benefiting all, yet TCS dominance stands out. Only this 3 lines will tell you everything from a fundamental analysis standpoint about these 3 companies. What's the next part of the framework? Part 2, proper financial analysis. If you know what the ratios that usually analysts will look at, gross margins, operating margins, net margins, return on equity, return on assets, all these ratios, very, very important to understand how a company is performing per se, right? And all of this number crunching has to be done manually. Now you don't need to do that also. It does it for you and then tells you what is happening. If you don't like looking at numbers, don't. This is going to lay it out for you. What does the numbers mean? TCS excels with 26.1% operating profit and gives you a walkthrough of whatever is happening financially. Don't want to go through that? Even fine. Takeaways. TCS financial strength shines through high margins. This is absolutely for the beginners. Only these 2 lines enough for you to understand the financials. TCS financial strength shines through high margins, ROE and growth with minimal leverage. Infosys is stable but less efficient, while HCL's weaker margins and growth signal caution. Correct? So this is part 2 of the framework. Pratik, you would like to add anything?
Yes, I would like to add two things. One is I am just actually imagining a position where, let's say for someone like me, how many of you like can't like when you see the balance sheet, the profit and loss and all of those numbers, मतलब कुछ समझ ही नहीं आता. We don't know what is happening with when you see those numbers, uh, right? Honestly, even I have no idea. Oh, ROE, ROCE, what is this? What is that? There are 10 different numbers, and then I'm supposed to understand those numbers and make sense of those numbers. So it's a lot of work, right? Unless I'm a CA or something, correct? And on top of that, if you're a beginner. But here, the beauty of it is I am getting accurate information. All the data that is important is getting taken without me asking, is because the prompt has been set in such a way that that's coming. On top of that, it is comparing three stocks together side by side, taking the information and then giving its insight on it. Do you see the levels of thing that we have gone to? The detail and the level of intricate information, clean information that we're getting in a world where itne sare information hai hamare paas. We have so much information today that we don't know what is correct information and what is wrong information. And this is basically clearing all of that. So I am truly just amazed. And I'm just looking forward कि इसके बाद क्या बोलेगा.
Yeah, by the way, guys, just a side note, the entire 6-part framework that Grok is doing for us now, I used to do it in my private equity days manually. So this is the framework that we used to use. And I've asked Grok to replicate the framework, and within seconds, it does the work. We used to take months to do this. Correct? It's my framework, but supercharged with AI. Now, what's the third thing that we need to look at? Okay? Company performance, stock price performance, how it has performed. So all the three stocks, let's take a look at it. Relative to historical performance, TCS's 5-year average return is this much, 10%, with recent gains exceeding this. Infosys averages 8%, that's the trend. HCL 12% historical average aligns with the strong 5-year run. Okay. How is it performing to the benchmark or to the average industry performance? NSE IT index, 18% 1 year, this, while TCS and HCL outperform, while Infosys slightly underperforms. How does it perform relative to analyst expectations, management forecasts? Okay. TCS exceeded expectations, Infosys missed expectations, underperformed, that is. HCL just met expectations on a few parameters. Okay. So total returns, again, TCS offers 20% capital gains on average, 3% dividend yield, that is 23%. Infosys 17.5%, HCL 27%. What is the takeaway? Even if you don't want to go through all this oversimplified version, if you want even more simplified, a one-liner. HCL leads in 5-year returns. TCS balances growth and income. Infosys lags. TCS's alignment with expectations enhances its appeal. So we did a company performance analysis also. That is the third part of the framework done. Fourth part, outlook. How the stocks going to perform? What are the expectations? What are the opportunities? What are the growth projections? What is management's focus? Right? For example, TCS emphasizes scale and client wins. Infosys prioritizes AI innovation. HCL focuses on niche differentiation. Right? Now, what about it in one line? TCS's robust projections and opportunities outweigh Infosys's execution risk and HCL's modest outlook. Okay. Fifth part, technical analysis. Fundamental analysis is good, but you also need to understand price, right? Now, technical analysis it does for you. TCS above 50-day and 200-day MAs, RSI, MACD, crossover volume, strong uptrend. Emphasis, sideways trend. HCL Tech, uptrend with momentum. How many of you know price action? Do technical analysis. This does it for you as well. What are the takeaways? Even if you don't know technical analysis, it does it for you. TCS and HCL show bullish momentum. Infosys lacks direction. Last part, valuation. Very, very important. If you talk to any private equity analyst, any equity research, they'll try and conclude their own value of the company, right? So TCS's valuation metrics, Infosys's valuation metrics, HCL Tech's. Don't understand what this is? There's an explanation. Okay? High PE and PB reflect premium valuation for TCS, justified by their earnings growth and everything. Infosys, reasonable PE and price to book ratios. PEG ratio suggests fair growth pricing. EV by EBITDA moderate. Too much technical goes with the takeaways, right? HCL appears undervalued. TCS is premium but justified. Infosys is fairly valued. Now, 6-part framework done. It has something for each and everyone, right? People with experience, you have a lot of data. Intermediate, you can just look at the key takeaways. Beginners, just look at the one-liners, two-liners, and understand the bare minimum. Okay? Now, what do we need to do? We need to understand. Now, okay, you went through each and everything. Can you still tell me which is the best pick? TCS, Infosys, or HCL? Are you taking a guess? Because apparently TCS is good at something, HCL is good at something, one of the parameters, and Infosys is good at one of the parameters. How do you actually concretely data backed make a decision on which is the best one? So again, in the world of finance, in private equity, in equity research, we have something called a scoring mechanism, right? And I'll tell you what it is. You don't have to do it yourself. I'll just explain. So for each and every factor that we did a 6-part framework, correct? For each and every factor, there is a scoring that happens out of 5. Okay? So this is very, very powerful. This is how you can quantify decision making, not just take guesses, quantify it. This is a scoring mechanism. Pratik, yes.
Yeah, I just want to say, for example, the scoring mechanism is basically all the things that have been shown before. Now, what we are doing is giving, let's say, 1 mark. Okay, winner. TCS is the winner in this department. You give it 1 mark, right? This is the winner in Infosys is the winner in one department. You give it the other mark, and then you compile all the marks and see which has the highest mark. And because of that, you say that this company is the best because it has the highest mark. Right, Rahul? That's what we're doing with scoring.
Absolutely, absolutely. So let's say you don't understand all that, right? Absolutely beginner. You don't have to go through all that also. Fundamental analysis, what do you need to understand? TCS gets 5 out of 5, Infosys 4 out of 5, HCL 4 out of 5. Financial analysis, TCS 5 out of 5, Infosys 4 out of 5, HCL 3 out of 5. So on and so forth. Each and every factor, right? Company performance outlook has been quantified. You don't need to think subjectively. It has been properly quantified, and based on the scoring mechanism, TCS gets a total score of 27%, right? 27 marks. Infosys 22 marks. HCL Tech 24 marks. Which student topped the class? The student with the highest marks. Yes. So that's TCS 27. So that's it. Winner TCS. It gives you a rationale why TCS is the winner. Now it tells you why it is the winner. Emerges the top pick due to its unmatched financial strength, consistent outperformance, technical momentum, market leadership outweighs its premium valuation, offering a balanced growth income profile. What are the key factors that make it a winner? Superior profitability, execution excellence, diversified growth. Why did the other miss out? Right? Infosys, weaker growth compared to revenue, compared to TCS. HCL, lower margins compared to TCS. Okay? Can you do it for Tata Power, Adani Power, and NTPC? Absolutely. Why not? Just change the name. Okay? It'll take some time. I
I
was
just
just
want to
about to show
ask,
you another example also.
in the
Yeah.
meantime, I want to ask people, how many of you have seen like broker reports, like your HDFC Securities, ICICI